Are you a real estate agent who's looking to start your real estate team or organization? Well, today in our video, we're going to be showing you guys 2 ways that you can start a real estate team or real estate agent organization and breaking down both the pros and the cons of each strategy. And I think you're going to be a little bit surprised by the end of this video as to which one of these strategies we actually recommend and which one of these strategies are going to be best for you to accomplish your goal of building a real estate agent organization or team. So that way you can one day step out of production and actually earn the income from the efforts of your agents. Today, we're going to be talking about that and breaking that down. But just to kind of tell you guys a little bit about ourselves, my name is 𝐭𝐞𝐫 𝐕𝐢𝐝, and I am the co-founder of Agent Wealth Hustle. I have personally built a real estate organization of 70 agents. And I am joined here by my partner, Charlie Cameron, who is the founder of Agent Wealth Hustle and has built his organization to over 100 agents and currently run a local production team in the state of Florida in his local market of 6 agents. And they're generating currently 1 new client per week. And they're doing really well on that end as well. So Charlie, you are doing both here, running an organization and a local production team. So why don't we break down for our audience here today what your experience has been running a production team, which is, I think, for most people, the more common or obvious way to start a real estate team.
Yeah, so what most people are probably thinking right now is, okay, I want to start a team, right? And that's usually because you're able to lead generate, which is probably the toughest skill in real estate by far. It has nothing to do with real estate, it has to do with getting clients, right? And so at this point, you're generating enough leads that you're thinking, okay, I either need to refer out or I need to start a production team, which is kind of a natural progression. But a production team is work. You speaking from experience, a 6-agent production team doesn't sound like a lot, but man, it can be a lot, especially when we're actually generating nearly a client a day now, which is a lot because not every lead becomes a client. So you've got to filter those out. You've got to assign leads to the right agents. You got to make sure those get followed up on. And it can be burdensome. So what I want to do is I want to talk about a few pros and then go into the cons of a production team. Is that fair?
Yeah, absolutely. So you've done both, so I think you're going to have a good experience of breaking that down.
Okay, so let's talk pros. You can essentially take a step back like I have and exit the actual transaction work. So if you've still got quite a lot of clients coming in, whether that's referrals or some other lead generation sources, now you can take a step back. If you're like me, the panhandle is really wide, Florida. So it was nice to be able to not have to drive everywhere because now I've got an agent in every location. So you can take a step back and kind of exit the day-to-day transactions and let other agents run those transactions with you overseeing them. Another pro is that you have higher income potential than just referring out. Initially, I still had a full-time job, but I was generating too many clients. I referred a lot of those clients out for 25%. That's great, but as a team lead who's also offering marketing and mentorship and support at another level, you can actually charge more, especially when your leads are high quality, like ours are. Ours are inbound leads that are calling to work with us. So now I can divvy those out and charge, a 50%. For example, most production teams are probably about a 50-50 split before the commission split, which happens at the agent level, right? So now you can potentially have a higher income than referrals, less than if you just close the transaction yourself, of course, but then you'd have to do the work. And then the third big pro is that you can continue to grow your local brand and your market share, right? If you really wanted to become a really killer production team in your area, the only way you're going to do that is by building a production team initially, anyway, until you switch to the second type of team, which we'll get to. Now, there are more cons than pros, in my opinion. And so, and I hate to say it, but this is the truth of the matter, okay? One of the first cons is that lead generation at scale is not for the faint of heart, right? If you're lead generating just enough for you and your business and you're closing, a few transactions a month, that's awesome. When you're lead generating at the scale where you need to support 6 agents or more, you need ways and systems and processes and people to handle those leads. And it gets crazy, especially when they're inbound, they're calling in. You've got to be able to work those and turn those leads into clients immediately, or they're going to be gone, right? They're going to move on. So you don't want to lose those opportunities. So now you have to make sure those leads get routed to the right person, and you have to make sure they get followed up on, right? So otherwise, you're losing opportunities by not knowing what's happening to those leads, right? Especially if you're paying for them. Now you're just burning dollar bills. Plus, running a production team, another con is that it takes a lot of time, especially if you're bringing on new agents, to mentor, to monitor, to run the team, to lead the team, and to ensure things are done right and ensure leads are being followed up on, ensure things are getting done the way you want them to be done, because it's ultimately your name usually on the team, right? It's your reputation. So you've got to make sure all 6 of these agents, or however many are on a team, are doing things the way you intend and the way you want your clients to be treated and taken care of throughout a transaction, right? Because if they go make that review is on the entire team. That could be pretty burdensome, pretty stressful to think about, right? Especially if you've got new agents that are just getting their feet wet. You've really got to handhold and keep people kind of in line. Another thing, things come up, right? There's changes in the industry. You've got to mentor those agents to implement those changes, like the new buyer's agency agreements becoming mandatory with the whole NAR lawsuit, right? That's my responsibility to implement that as a team and teach them and mentor them and get them to now use those agreements and to talk about their value proposition and how to get clients to sign on the dotted line instead of running away because there's now an agreement in place, right? So that all becomes your responsibility as a team lead. Another con is that it's expensive to provide marketing, to run ads, for all the time you put in, for signage, right? We keep getting more listings, which is great. I got to order signs every freaking week, right? And so you got to think about it. There's expenses that you may be charging 50%, but your expenses have gone way, way, way up when it was just you. If you provide a transaction coordinator like I do, because I want things to be done in that uniform way, guess what? That's another expense you get to take on. I also have a gal that does marketing. I have a gal that answers our phone and helps route leads. Those are expenses as well. Another con is now you're handing clients off, right? They're calling in and you have to make a handoff. Most of them are calling and expecting you to just start serving their needs immediately and drop everything and work with them, right? And well, if you're a team leader with 6 agents and you've got daily clients coming in, that's impossible. You cannot serve them all. So you have to have a good message in place to handle the handoff, because that client is going to call. They're not going to speak to me, most likely. They're going to speak to my coordinator, and then she's going to hand them off to another agent. That agent's got to call them immediately, or that opportunity will likely be lost because they'll go to the next person on Google, or they'll go to the next person on YouTube, or they'll go to the next person, right? So that handoff is critical. You're going to lose some, right? Before, when you were answering the phone and it was just you, you're going to convert more of those than when you do this handoff, just inevitably. So just keep that in mind, that's a critical piece. And then the last con, which is going to really roll us into the next section, is you have to recruit agents to your team, right? If you're generating all these leads, you got to bring people in to work the clients, or it's for naught. And so that's important. You got to bring the right people in the right seats. You got to train them right to make sure they're right for your team. And so you got to find those folks.
Yeah, absolutely. So as we can see here, there's a lot of cons when it comes to running a real estate team, a local production team that is. And for a lot of agents, that is a big reason why they've never considered or really dove into running their own local team or running a team in general. And they're very turned off by this idea because it is a lot of work. There is a lot of management of individuals. There is a lot of lost opportunities when it comes to leads. And you actually have to have a lot of systems set up in place already. Like if you're generating a lot of leads, what are your lead routing systems? What are your lead capture systems? What are your transaction management systems? How are you going to split commissions with your agents? What's the best split for your agents? And how are you finding these agents that are actually joining your team? These are all things that you're going to have to need in place, and also team agreements that your team members must sign before actually joining your team in order for the transactions to work, right? So you have to have all of these things in place before you start your team. Well, what if we told you that there was actually a way for you to start a real estate quote unquote team, or in our case, what we really call it is a real estate agent organization, where you don't really need any of those things, and you can only focus on one thing out of all of these tasks, and that is attracting or recruiting agents to your group or your organization. And they're taken care of by the brokerage, by your organization, and you're actually able to leverage other people, other tools in order to bring agents into your group. So Charlie, you have done this, I've done this, and we're currently doing this as well. What has your experience been comparing the two, and why do you think it is better for, I would say, the average agent out there to start an agent organization rather than a production team?
Yeah, I would definitely highly recommend the route of, hey, if you want to start building a team, starting to build, an income stream that's mostly passive versus extremely active, like a production team or as a solo agent. Continue with the solo agent and do this instead. Like build an agent organization where they're still within a brokerage. They still get the construct of a brokerage. They get broker support. They'll still have access to tons of training, whether that's lead generation or transactional. They'll have access to a mentor if they want, to walk them through transactions. They will have access to the tools they need to lead generate and to run their transactions, to have checklists in place, to grow their business from a transaction side, as well as you're giving them the benefits that we're also receiving, which is they can build their own organization, which also grows yours, which is pretty mind-blowing, right? So it's a very different aspect. Yes, your cuts per agent will be lower, but your opportunity to grow it will be much, much, much higher with much, much, much less overhead, as in zero overhead. It costs money and time and effort and stress to build a production team. It costs a little bit of effort to build an agent organization and none of the other stuff, which is kind of crazy, right? It's about as passive as an income stream as it gets in terms of real estate commission and income. But at the same time, it's a true win-win where, the agents that you attract and you help succeed, you only get paid if they succeed, and they don't have to pay you anything to receive your support in their real estate journey.
Right. Absolutely. And I think for a lot of agents, this is a much better option because they don't necessarily have the experience of managing agents in a local production team. They don't have lead routing. They don't have a system built in place. Maybe they're generating a lot of leads and they're able to handle them themselves, but they don't have the CRM. They don't have the back end systems to support their agents, including the transaction management systems as well. So for an agent to be able to start implementing these things into their local production team can be very stressful. And I've heard a ton of stories out there. Now, I personally never ran a local production team, but I heard a ton of stories out there of agents who have failed running a local production team and soar off teams, but came in and started a real estate agent organization, have done wildly successful, definitely much more successful than their experience has been running a production team. And something else that you brought up earlier as well, which is, with changes in the industry and you having to mentor all of your agents as their team leader, right? Running an agent organization actually requires no liability on the organization leader's part because the brokerage itself has systems built in place where they're helping the agents understand new laws, new changes to the laws, new ways of doing business. What are the compliance within your local area, in your state? What are the things that you need to be doing? How do you navigate these conversations with your buyers and your seller clients without you having to personally mentor each individual in knowing how to navigate these changes as well? So it truly is a higher leveraged way for you to be able to build an organization and earn more income through your team rather than just yourself. So again, going back to an example I think we covered earlier on in these passive income agent video series, you don't want to put all of your eggs in one or just a few baskets when it comes to earning an income, right? So if you're an individual agent, your income is relying 100% on yourself. If you have a team of 5 agents locally, you might be earning 50% of all of their commissions, but your eggs are in 5 different baskets, right? So what if one of them left, or what if one of them was not able to produce, right? You're earning more of less. So there's actually less leverage in this scenario. And the third option is an organization of agents. Let's just say you had 100 agents. Maybe you're only earning 2% or 3% per transaction, but you're having more people in your organization. There's more diversification as far as where your income is coming in. And your eggs are not all in one or just a few baskets. And you're able to have more leverage in your business. You're able to have more free time. And again, you're not the person managing or supervising those 100 agents. You don't have to worry about that either.
Yeah, and you have more leverage in your business and you're able to scale without it taking more time, right? Scaling that production team is inevitably going to take more time. You got more people to mentor, more people to support, more transactions to oversee. In this case, you're overseeing 0 transactions, right? They already have the tools, the training, the support, the mentorship, the broker support for that. So really all your role is to help them succeed. And I don't mean on a transactional basis. I don't mean on a day-to-day basis. What I mean is if you have a lead generation technique you're good at that you learned, or you're an investor agent, you can help agents invest. There's lots of different examples where you have a unique value prop, or how to go from part-time to full-time like I did, right? There's a lot of different unique values that you could add to these agents. And it's the whole analogy of teach a man to fish, right? You just get on, maybe like we do, we host a weekly mastermind, and that's an hour a week. And what we do is we teach our agents to fish in whichever capacity that is. Hey, here's how to set up your entity so that you pay less taxes, right? Holy smokes, that's valuable. We're going to save our agents tens of thousands a year doing that, right? Or, hey, here's how to get your first investment property and your advantages as an agent. Or, hey, here's how to attract clients through YouTube. Just teaching them what they need to go succeed with their business and ultimately create their own freedom, their own growth. You're by bringing them into your agent organization, by attracting them to your organization, you are giving them the brokerage benefits and incentives that they need to grow their business, that they'll want to keep forever, right? So they'll stay, and they can leverage those benefits to grow their organization, which is pretty insane, because now all the benefits you offer, they can also offer to grow their own organization, to grow their own additional income streams, which grows your organization, right? Which is crazy. So over time, you can continue to grow and scale. When that local production team, it's not quite going to work that way. Now we could still combine both, right? You could still have your local production team as part of your agent organization, and that does help, could help grow your production team as well, but not in the same way. So really, there's a massive list of benefits, and the one con is, and I wouldn't really even call it a con, is that I think you should be willing to provide some sort of value to the agents in your organization. I know that sounds crazy, but like the mastermind, in which with us, we record them all and we provide additional tools and additional resources and the ability to schedule calls with us, right? Because ultimately, I think one of the most fun things in the world is to help others succeed. Like, what's better than that? And what's better than getting paid to do that? That doesn't come out of their pockets, right? Like, it's just mind-blowingly good of a scenario versus trying to run and scale a production team, which you can never step away from. You can never really make passive ultimately.
Exactly. So it's not really a con in our opinion, but if you feel like, spending a little bit of time working with your agents is a con, then you probably are not the best person to run a production team either, right? So yeah. You're probably not watching this video. So one note that I think we do want to mention is, the organization that we're bringing up and talking about here is a revenue share organization, and specifically the one that me and Charlie are part of are with eXp Realty. So as a production team leader, you are actually able to do both. So you are able to run a production team and build a revenue share organization at the same time. Charlie, you are currently doing this. So this is not something that is mutually exclusive. And just my personal opinion, I think that if you are somebody, a real estate agent who is generating a lot of leads, who have a good system in place, you should provide those leads to maybe 2 or 3 or 5 local agents in your local production team, and form a team just so you can step out of personal production and work on helping your agents produce more, and actually leverage that as an additional benefit for agents joining a revenue share organization as well. If you're not in that position, if you want to close the deals yourself that you're generating, or if you're just not generating enough leads or have the right systems in place, I would definitely suggest you focus your time on building a revenue share agent organization. And there's actually a ton of benefits for existing team leaders who have a local production team to roll their teams over into an organization like ours, because some of your agents are going to essentially outgrow your local production team. They're going to want to keep more of their commissions. Maybe they start learning how to generate leads themselves. Well, with the revenue share organization, you can actually retain those agents in your group. So that way they're not part of your local production team anymore, but they're still part of your agent organization. So you're still able to earn income from their production without them having to split a portion of their commissions with you. So that way they're keeping more money, you're still earning a portion of the commissions that they're closing, and everybody is winning at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's so cool because it's the natural progression, right? You may join a team initially because you don't know how to generate leads yet. You learn how to do it. You start generating leads on your own. But eventually, you may not want to be on that team anymore. That's okay. If you're a team leader, you should be okay with that because your agents are going to evolve and grow, and eventually they may not want to pay a 50% split anymore if they don't have to. Fair enough, right? But it can still be a win for you, right? Like, awesome. I'm really happy for you. Congrats on your success. I want to see where you succeed in the future. In fact, I'll even help you start your own production team if you would like, or help you grow your own revenue share team, as the case may be for what we're vying for. But that way it stays a win-win relationship, right? You can still continue to help them succeed in a much more passive capacity, and not get nearly as involved. And I know you heard Kobe, but I'm gonna reemphasize it. Eventually, you can transition out of the production piece if you want to, through both this type of team. You could go to, instead of running a production team, you could go to basically referrals and revenue share, and so you're still making a little bit more of a cut, plus the rev share piece, but not having to run any of the transactions anymore, which ultimately I think is where we all want to be, right? Everybody wants to be making a certain amount of passive income every month, and you can't do that initially as a real estate agent, but you certainly can if you position yourself right and work on this from day one. You could definitely put yourself in a position to be totally passive.
Yep, exactly. And that's, I think, is what every agent here who's at least watching this video is aiming for and going after as far as their goals, right? So this is the Passive Income Agent video series. We are here to teach you guys how to start and build successful real estate agent organizations and teams, how to bring more agents into your group, and how to basically, copy the success that me and Charlie has had and actually surpass our success as well. So if you're ready to start and grow your own real estate agent organization to any level, I want to invite you to book a one-on-one Zoom call with us to learn more about how you can partner directly with us. So that way you can actually get access to and leverage all of the tools, trainings, coachings, and resources and systems that we've personally used to grow our real estate agent organizations. Again, myself personally to 70 agents at this point, and Charlie now to over 100 agents in his real estate agent organization. You can have access to all of these tools so that you can leverage them to build your own real estate agent organization for free. And we're going to sit down with you and help you develop a tailored roadmap and strategy so that way you can leverage your own skill set and experience to build your agent organization and offer your own unique value proposition, whether you're just starting out or you already have a team and you're looking to grow, looking to expand. We are here to help you. We want to partner with you, and we're looking forward to you booking a one-on-one Zoom call with us in the description in this video down below. And make sure to check out the rest of our videos here in the Passive Income Agent video series to learn more about how you can bring more agents to your organization, grow your income streams, and overall how you can live a lifestyle that you deserve and you can have both time and money freedom. But we'll see you in the next video.